Hi, welcome to Ocean Yumi's channel. So, I really find it quite difficult to find Rose McGannon's survival story, but I've only found a small snippet of her talking about the her growing up in a cult. Now, um, hi, real talk. Now, there was quite a few that children that left the cult. Now, according to what I heard through a video, there was one called Ricky Rodriguez. Oh, it's 3 a.m.? Wow. It's just turned 8 over here. I'm at past 8. Ricky Rodriguez. Rose McCann was one of them, but she is a film star from my understanding. So most of the interviews with her talking, she talks about being a film star, she talks about being a part of the Me Too movement. But I'm glad that there was one really great reporter who spoke to her specifically about her being in the cult. Now, as you know, before when I tried to put up the video of her being in an interview with one of the English interviews over here, YouTube put it under copyright for some reason, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to put her image up. I'm not gonna show all the interview of the actual interview because YouTube's funny in it. So I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know how it's gonna go. But what I'm gonna do, I might play the two or I might play the one. The thing is that they both probably might speak the same thing, but the most probably might be different. Now, let me find her image. So I got image up. When the thing's in the wrong way, it plays up. Then it just takes long to do what it's got to do. Oh, that's the wrong one. Rose, where's Rose? There she is. Oops. See, the connection here is a bit digi. Okay, so I'm going to get. Oh no, I'm gonna get the interview as well. And I'm going to get her image up. Now, the reporter is Louis Theroux, right? He is I think he's the greatest interviewer. He finds himself in the most weirdest of places and he's very blunt at asking questions. That's one thing I like about this guy. He's a very good reporter on all accounts. So, like I said, there was another child that left the cult, the Children of God. I think he is on Berg's lap, Ricky Rodriguez. But it's very difficult to hear his voice. I'm finding it's not easy. Hi, Christine. I'm finding it's not easy to hear the voices because there was also a woman as well. So I might have to put their voices, their testimonial stuff in parts. I think if it comes out like that, it comes out like that. Because that's not controlled because of you need to hear the people's voices, and when you're doing it via YouTube, it's a whole heap of craziness. They want you to cut out everything, so you miss totally the information what they're trying to give out. So I'm gonna let this one play. It's very short, mind you, but if I have to draw out more of her, well, as I say, testimony, survival story, however, on the children of God, so we can read it directly. We'll just do that because um, she gives away very little, which is interesting. I thought she gave away a lot on the other interview, but she gives away very little. But anyway, let's see. Let's see how this one goes.
You don't talk about how your parents came to join the Children of God, as it then was. Do you know that story? Because they were in Southern California, weren't they? I mean, I don't mean your parents, but that was the headquarters of the group.
Well, what happened was my father was dishonorably discharged from the Navy for putting acid in his commander's cups. He was in the very last couple of weeks of the draft. And he also said to them, I will not kill another race for this country.
Right. Because this would be the draft for the Vietnam War in the early 70s, late 60s.
Early 70s. So then he went to Venice, California, and met a man named Berg, who is the founder of the Children of God, and obviously went to Texas with him.
At that point, I think it was called, what was it called?
It was something else.
Teens for Christ or something like that. And he was recruiting kind of dropouts and kids, lost teenagers. He was quite a bit older. He would have been around 50 then, David Berg.
Yeah.
Something about his message clicked with these lost youngsters, right?
I don't even know if you say lost. Imagine what the world would have been like. People always say like people going into cults are lost, but I think people living in Ohio might also be lost.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I take that point.
No, maybe they were seeking. There's, I think, might be fundamental difference. They liked creating this world that averted towards, the end when we were, and maybe still. So he started sending out people just kind of all over the world. Like, you start a chapter here, you start a chapter there. So my father and mother first went actually to a place called Hollingbourne Manor, which is somewhere in the English countryside, and restored that and lived there with a few people. And then from there went to Italy, and they met a duke, and we wound up living on ducal estates.
And your father was the head of the Italian chapter, I guess. Is that right?
I guess, yeah.
Most cults or extreme religious groups, there's something in there that means that they have an appeal for people, right? Whether it's a sort of psychological mechanism that means that it's in some way seductive or intoxicating. With the family, I don't have a clear sense, or with the Children of God, other than they had some hippie trappings, right? A lot of it was have fun, play music, hang out, don't be uptight. But at the same time, you're controlled. Is that more or less what it was?
I would say that sounds about right. We called everybody, the word for people that were not in Children of God or the family was systemites.
Because they believed in the system.
They're not wrong. That's the whole thing. Just because it's a cult doesn't mean it has some good attributes. Like most journalists that have written about me, especially American journalists, they really feel sorry for me. They're like, oh, poor thing, she didn't grow up in America. And I'm like, woo. I'm like, given the choice, I'll take what I had.
What were its cult-like characteristics?
Various things that made no sense to me at all, like sit on your bed and learn how to snap your fingers all day so God will teach you to drive when you're 16. I'm like,
that was something you had to do?
For like 8 hours, I had to snap my stupid fingers. And I was like, this is absurd. The kids were largely raised communally. All the women were called nannies. So if I say I grew up with a nanny, it sounds posh, but it was just communal raising. The education, interestingly enough, was I was reading at 2.5, like full books. It was like story teaching that they employed there for that. So my education, granted it had souls, no one taught me at the time I was 9. When I got sent to America, I realized how good the education was and had been that I had already received.
Grounded with Louis Theroux on BBC Sound.
So as you can hear, that's a very short one. She kind of gives a little bit of sense of how she came to be in the cult and all that, which is a little more clearer than what we got from the interviews. So I am going to go to one of the interviews that one of the people's done, so we can get a read on this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to slide this one side. Oh, well, let me slide it. Oh, okay, go in. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So there's another interview that she did as well. Yeah. So this is what it says. The commune I grew up in, a thing called the Children of God. I was definitely a torn in their side, says actor and activist Rose McCann about the religious cult in Italy where she spent her childhood. We left because they started advocating child adult, sexing, and that was too far for my father. So we escaped. She tells Rosalind Ingle in the latest episode of a new broadcast by the Irish Times Back to Yours. In the podcast, Rosalind talks to a well-known people about their houses and snoops in the drawers and finds out all about the homes they live through. Oh yeah, okay. Oh right. Okay, we found an interview. So I don't have to read it no more. Okay. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna play the soundbite to make it easier because like I said, it's better to hear it from the horse's mouth because when you're reading it, oops. Oh, it's done it. When you're reading it, it's not the same. And I look a little bit disorganized today, but so be it, innit? It's just this story doesn't want to be told. Doesn't want to be told, but let's see. Let's hear what she says from her own mouth.
This podcast is brought to you by Green and Black's Velvet Edition, a delicious range.
Oh, shoot. Oh. No. Oh, I see what I did.
Sumptuously smooth dark chocolate. Hi, I'm Roisin Ingle, and you are very welcome to Back to Yours, a podcast where I get very nosy with some big names about the stuff they hang on their walls and hide in their drawers, and basically find out all about the homes they've lived in. I've already poked around the houses of the likes of Marion Key, Dolly Alderton, and coming up, I'll be going back to yours with Dermot Bannon and Eamon. But this episode, my guest, the actor, activist and all-round kick-ass woman, Rose McGowan. As many of you will know, Rose has played a pivotal role in the Me Too movement and was one of the first to speak out about it. I spoke to her when she was in Dublin to promote her memoir, Brave. In it, she talks about her childhood growing up in an Italian cult, but says it wasn't as bad as some of the other places she's lived in.
Fox News, I'm sure you've heard of them.
I have.
They just put me on there. They used my mugshot as the main picture, and they said, Rose McGowan says America was harder than the cult. Yes, it was.
Now, Rose describes herself as a thorny little thing, and I have to admit I was a bit nervous about meeting her, but I really needn't have. She was warm, funny, and an engaging guest, and I know you're really going to enjoy this. Rose, tell me what home means to you.
Wow, home has always been something it's been very charged for me. Mostly never had probably a stable home growing up, so there was no home. You know, a lot of people say, I wish I was in space or I want to go to space, and I always say, where do you think you are? Because to me, that's my true home. You know, I think we're hanging upside down on the planet right now. We're literally hanging off of it. And because I've had no direct, real relationship with home as a sense of security and safety growing up, later I certainly try to create that for myself. But it's a complex question that you just asked, yeah.
I hope it is. Well, let's go back then to to your very first home.
Wait, let
you
me
were
take off my
actually-
plastic
Take off
jacket.
your plastic jacket. We're going to hear some noise from Rose's jacket.
This is
now.
my jacket now, everybody. My current home is my jacket.
Well, there's another saying which I love, which is home is where the feet are, and that sense that you kind of have to be at home wherever you are, otherwise, you know, you're a bit lost. You have to make everywhere your home.
You do have to make everywhere your home, and my feet. I like that saying, keep your head where your feet are at. And that's usually for when your fears are getting the better of you and you're tripping off into the what if land. So I try to keep my head where my feet are at so I don't freak out.
I think it's really funny you say in your book that you were born in a barn. I love that expression. Like we use that a lot in Ireland as well. Were you born in a barn? Shut the door.
And my answer is yes, and I don't have to shut your door. I was literally born in a barn, and no, I do not have to shut the door.
Tell us about the place that you grew up in your early childhood in.
There was a Duke that was in the commune that I grew up in, a thing called Children of God. And he was in the group, so it was on ducal estates. And they were beautiful. It was different places that could fit 100 weird hippie Jesus people in Tuscany. You know, he had various properties and that we lived on, and it was incredibly beautiful. I mean, Tuscany, Italy is not. It was really multinational, the group that I was in. So there was no nationalism. There was no, I mean, the laws were unto our own. So I never really mixed with society in terms of, you know, school and going home after school, going to your house kind of thing. I didn't have that experience, but I did have a beautiful estate that was from probably the 1500s. You know, stone barns, stone manor houses, and geraniums, red geraniums, and cypress trees, those pointy trees that are so specific to Tuscany. Do you know Tuscany is the only place in Italy that's allowed to have cypress trees other than in the rest of Italy, they're only allowed to be in cemeteries?
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's your little factoid.
Thank you. So I know you have a really big artistic sensibility. You're an artist. That's what you are at heart, even more than an actor or any other things you've done.
Actor was my day job.
Yeah. Actor was something you sort of pretended to be. I've heard
I
you
did.
say.
I felt like I did deep cover as an actor or an actress, and I hated having to write that. You know, whenever you land somewhere and they make you fill out the landing card and you have to write your occupation, I always really resented having to write actress because it was so narrow and so not encompassing of me, and comes with so many stereotypes also.
But I was thinking about the nature there in Italy and how that informed kind of how you see things and your aesthetic. Would you say that was the
Very
first
much
beauty
so.
that you saw when you were growing up?
Definitely. And my father was an incredible artist. He was a wild human, a true rascal in every sense of the word, and a fascinating man, a very complex and difficult man. An amazing, weird laugh. But the way he saw things and the light and the colors that he captured in his art, I was heavily inspired by that as well. And it is true, the light in Italy, especially in Florence, is very specific, and artists have taken from that light for a long time their inspiration, and I think I was one of them too.
It's difficult for people to understand what it would have been like in a place like that where you were Children of God, it was called. It was very religious. You were being, I suppose, brainwashed to a degree.
They
would be
tried.
the word. They got the wrong child.
They got
in
the
you.
wrong child. I was definitely a thorn in their side.
With Rose and
No
everything.
pun intended there, actually, but I really was a thorny little thing because what they were doing wasn't matching up with what they were saying. So I just figured, well, if I agree with you, then I'm believing in your God, and your God doesn't make any actual sense to me. So I think I'll just disregard that entirely.
We'll talk about the positive things first, because you mentioned the nature, the beautiful environment you were living in.
Yes.
You also were surrounded by a lot of books, and you weren't surrounded by any mirrors, which are two things that I think you took from it that were good.
Two great things, you know. Gender gets weaponized against people at a very early age, and I got kind of a pass for a little while, for longer than most children get it. You know, they get told they're a girl or a boy and programmed and wearing pink and blue and having that kind of binary mindset from such an early age, from before they can even talk. I escaped that, and I think it helped give me a real different viewpoint on the world, and not just how I see myself. It kept me apart from other people because I didn't think the same way that they did about an awful lot of things. And reading was my salvation completely. And that was the way, and I still do. I escape into other worlds and other stories to leave my own and also to travel.
Tell me then about some of the things that weren't good about that. Obviously, you were being kind of told this is how you have to live and this is the control that we want you to be under. So tell me some of the things that were traumatic memories for you from that time.
More than just traumatic, it was very stressful. It was kind of like a high wire act. I was always supposed to be looking out for people that were talking about my father behind his back, or kind of like supposed to be a little spy in a way. And you weren't allowed to have any physical imperfection, which was interesting. So I had a wart on my thumb at one point, and I was picked up and someone just hacked it off of me and set me back down with blood flowing everywhere. And I remember that really vividly, but it was also a really beautiful looking situation. I don't know how to describe it. It's so strange sounding, I suppose. But when I was little, and I talk about this in my book, I found a camera and it got taken away from me very quickly. But I had looked through that lens, and so I started using it. I guess a psychologist would probably say as a disassociative tool, but I looked at it. I started pretending I was looking through a square or a rectangular lens at everything and filming it for posterity. So that's how my memories are so vivid. So one, it kept me while I was in a situation that was, say, fraught with peril or painful or stressful or freaky. I was also outside of my body filming it without a camera, filming it with my mind for a later date to analyze the situation.
Did you feel safe in that home?
No, that safety hasn't really been a big thing for me.
And the reason you left then?
We left because they started advocating child-adult sex, and that was too far for my father, so we escaped.
He had some line beyond which he wasn't going to.
Yeah, luckily.
You came to America, but that wasn't really home, or didn't feel like home, because it was so different to what you'd been used to.
It was kind of honestly a nightmare. Fox News, I'm sure you've heard of them.
I have.
They just put me on there. They used my mugshot as the main picture. And they said, Rose McGowan says America was harder than the cult. Yes, it was. Just because it's America doesn't mean it's not oftentimes traumatic for people that come and speak a different language. And they changed my name from Rosa to Rose the first day of school. They told me I didn't want to sound Mexican. I didn't know what that was. They made me lead the class in the Pledge of Allegiance. And the teachers behind me said, we're going to get the commie out of her. To which I replied, Italians were fascists, stupid.
Tell me about the homes in America then, because there was quite a few and then you didn't have one. So first of all, with your step-grandmother and then with your dad.
The first place I landed was with my step-grandmother on a Navy base, a military base, and she told us, my brother and I, to watch out that the bears were going to come in and eat us that night. And I had gone from Italy and its wonderful food to America, which was, and her cooking, which was atrocious, and the food was just plastic and disgusting. This is America, in the mid-'80s. It was disgusting. And I cried when I ordered my first plate of Horrible Taste in Furniture. And we had this really amazing blue, kind of almost a canvas fabric of a couch with kind of studs in it, to keep the fabric around. And it was just he had excellent taste. I'll give stabs you. It's like a cheap.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's a cheap paint spray they used, but then they were called drag queens.
And you lived this kind of life. You were homeless as well, so you were with them, but you were on the streets as well sometimes.
I was on the streets sometimes when Tina.
This thing, you can't even pause it. She definitely lived a good life in that commune, innit? It's really, I don't know whether she's making it sound nicer than what it was. She's really painting the perfect picture of something that was, I could say, she make it sound nicer than what it was. That's what I can hear anyway. But let me see if like we can get to the underbelly of the thing.
Wasn't there, we would get locked out and I would sleep in cemeteries,
Right.
which I've always found very peaceful and calming. The only thing I own outright in my life right now is a Porsche and 8 plots in a cemetery in Seattle, Washington.
Why did you buy those plots, Rose?
It was a little, after my dad died, I kind of went crazy. I didn't like my stepmother very much, and I wanted to ban her from being buried around us. So I bought a quarter of a cemetery, which looking back is a little extreme.
But you have them now, so
I have somewhere to go.
you have a home for
I have
later
a home.
on.
I have a home for later on. I don't even want to be buried there. I don't even, I don't want to be buried there, but I suppose I'm going to have to since it's my only thing that I own.
Escape the ordinary with Green and Blacks, sponsor of Back to Yours. Made with the finest ingredients and ethically sourced cocoa. Discover your favourite flavour from the range, which includes 70% cocoa, roasted almond, salted caramel, sea salt and mint.
Fear, that rock bottom fear of having nowhere to go. I don't think it's ever left me.
You got into acting very by accident. Were you homeless when that happened, when that kind of incidental thing?
I was
had you
about to
found
be,
somewhere?
because my boyfriend had just been murdered. And I was standing on a street corner crying. And a woman came up to me and she said, "Do you want to be an actress?" And I was standing next to a friend of my boyfriend who had just died, and he knew the woman. And so she got in touch with him. And this director named Greg Araki was looking for a very specific physical type to play this part. And he'd already been all over the world searching. And 2 weeks later,
Hollywood ever feel like home?
no.
Why?
It's a terrifying place. It was for me anyway. Maybe not for everybody, but it's a place that implants you with a lot of fears. And I'm someone that hates being afraid. But the implantation is effective. It's very effective. Don't step out of line, little girl. You can be replaced. Mind your P's and Q's. Don't talk. Don't speak up. Don't push back. Don't rock the boat. And people always had this idea that I was going to be difficult, which is not remotely the case. I'm extremely professional and have never been difficult on any set I've ever been on or any work environment.
Okay, she's completely left the subject. So what she's doing, from what I'm getting, she talks a little bit about the children of God and bits and pieces. And then she talks about her other lives, where she's met Weinstein and others, and how she was homeless and all that stuff, and how she became an actress. But it's like she's talking about it, but not really talking about it. Or is it just me? Or am I the only one feeling this way? Or I could be wrong. Because in every interview, it's like she gives away bits and pieces, little bits here, little bits there, little bits there. In the interview that she spoke about with the guy, she was talking about that she didn't know how to play with the children. She saw children playing outside, and she didn't know how to play after she left the Children of God commune. Yeah, she's skirting around the trauma. She's not even talking about it. She's like, she touches it in parts. Like every interview seems to be the same situation. It's never straightforward. Like when you listen to other people that are put up, they talk about their traumas, and then they talk about how they got over it, and then they talk about the stuff they are doing now. She's just really not saying exactly what and what. Maybe she saw a lot more than what she's making out. So if there is not a lot to get from this one, but I am going to talk when I do another one. It's Rodriguez one, because he literally he took his life basically because of this Children of God cult. you know. So yeah, there is a few people that needs to be covered from the children of God. The mother who left, yeah, she is protecting herself emotionally. I think she doesn't want to be reminded of where she was, you know. Um, and like I mean, I just turned on to Facebook and I just seen something with children as well, and it's like either she's been in a situation herself that she doesn't want to talk about. Um, she keeps talking about how pretty Italy was and how pretty it was and how pretty it was and how pretty it was. It's like she's trying to block out what had happened, whatever's happened to her. That's what I'm feeling from her. She changes the subject totally. She goes the next place, even though the woman's asking her questions pacifically, but it's not pacific in a way. I don't know. But anyway, I just feel it's good to hear someone's voice from that commune, the children of God. Um, then you get an idea. You hear their mindset. So anybody who leaves a cult, hold on, let me see what you can completely block out. So yeah, I know you can. Yeah, definitely. You can block it out, and I feel that's what she's doing. Been doing, should I say, been doing. The only person who probably got a straightforward something from her was Louis Theroux. Louis Leroux. He kind of got a straight-ish answer from her. This one, she makes it all flowery and nice. Hopefully, she makes it. It's like she tries to make her think as though she was on a vacation or something. She was actually living in a commune where stuff was going on, where they had to do a lot of stuff, something called fishing, books, all different types of stuff. It wasn't like a holiday camp. Um, it's obvious there's a pain associated with it. Yeah, I feel that as well. I feel that as well. So I know this is going to be a short one because she ain't really giving away a lot as much as she was giving on the other interview. But the other interview, I can't put it up because they just make me cut it up. Being triggered can cause an array of issues. Flashbacks are the worst. Yeah, I know. But some people has walked out of cults and written whole books like the guy yesterday, a woman, she wrote a whole book about what happened to her which turned into a film. um this lady is like she turned into an actress somehow. I don't even know how she reached this actress levels. Like, I mean, though she explains it, but it's not, but I feel that's not the important thing. The important issue is what happens when in it she don't give away a lot of the information, right? I mean the escape story, I get the escape story. The father disagreed with what was going on in the commune, so he made a run for it. I think there was quite a few that made a run for it. I'm gonna find the video and upload it so you can see, because they talk about several people who was involved in the commune. It's just I don't know whether YouTube would like it because YouTube's a sensitive place. Um, yeah, she's not really giving away a lot. So yeah, skirting round the thing definitely. Let me see what Claire said. Claire says it's a trauma from all the sidelines. The only way to deal with it is to make up tell. She's they're not as hard as she probably got a complex PTSD like me. Yeah, she probably had PTSD. She probably do. I know she does talk about Harvey Weinstein, but I don't want to talk about him like that because he's not the subject matter right now. It's seen that one crazy she went through as a child and then sexually everyone. Oh yeah, Harvey. Yeah, so she probably had flashbacks of it as well. Not very good. Defoe suppress emotions. Yeah, you can hear it in her voice. She's smiling, but she's not smiling. Do you not feel that? Do you feel that she's smiling behind her smile? She's not smiling. You know how people can hide their how they're feeling and stuff. Um, it's a shame, really. It's a shame because the other lady gives away a lot of information. The one in the documentary, I can't remember what the documentary is called on Netflix. The mother that does actually finally work out that her children wasn't happy gives a lot away. But the thing is that you can't see with this place here, you can't even post her up. She also has been brainwashed to a certain degree. Yeah, I feel she still lives in that fantasy island in the Children of God world, in that commune and all that. Yeah, she got low tone. She probably doesn't really want to talk about it, not really. So, I mean, though it's a small piece of information, but to me, it's not enough. It's not enough. But the next live I'm gonna do is on the mind of the cult leader. She's being flippant, which suggests she's being rooted pain. Yet she is very flippant, very flippant. So I'm definitely gonna do on the cult leader's mindset. I think we're gonna look at some of them beautiful words, look into all the psychological sides of the mindset of the cult leader. And then we're gonna do the one in Brixton. That's the one I'm gonna do. Being the how like we always like Claire said, we always there's always across the pond, but I'm sure there's been a few over here that probably is not it's not outrightly been seen or something. But that one in Brixton seems interesting. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to leave it right here because it's pointless adding more to it. I think it's just gonna be a short one, really. It's just gonna be a short one. So thank you, Real Talk TV, for coming through, Christine, Claire. I did see Big Philly a while ago. Where's Philly? Big Philly dog. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna leave it right here because she's not really giving a lot, and I'm going to start researching some stuff and then come back because it's a lot. I feel it's just like I said, right? Even me and you can be drawn, even know it. I've never forced my kids into faith. They would come to mosque with me and their dad, and I also let them go to church with my. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to carry on researching bits and pieces. So we have more information because the more information is put out, whether people listen to it or not, it's always good to know the signs when your peoples are involved in cults, etc. I'll probably even look at the New Nuwapians. Maybe Nation might come under that, Nation of Islam, because I think that I think the Muslims look at Nation of Islam as a cult, but it's really not really. But that's how people see it. The nation is the Nuwapians, the Moorish temples. We have to look at all of those because they're all fall under the same thing. So it's all, I mean, looking at like Solo Temple, Heaven's Gate again, which I feel has got more. There's there's more what was going on with the leader anyway than Heaven's Gate. Because Heaven's Gate guy, he was hiding who he was. And that's why he made them cut off their hair, get rid of their identity. Oh, the Pentecostal Christianity, that's another one. Alan Anderson was a kind of a cult too, in the way he ran his church. So through the church, even cults can be formed. But I'm gonna get more info. Right, I might leave this a while and get my information, like so-called receipts, as the Americans say, and make sure that this information, because we all can learn from this, and maybe we can avoid a whole heap of things. Then when we're looking at people like Nature Boy, etc., then we can see how he's gotten these people to where they are, that they are not even leaving. I mean, even if he sends them away, like they don't leave, or I mean, there's a lot going on behind it. So it's best to look at the leader, take it apart if we have to. So all those psychology people who knows about psychology, you lot need to come true too, because then you lot can pick things apart even more deeper than I can, because I can see certain things, but maybe I might miss something. So all the psychologists who's on YouTube, who needs to come true, and we can pick the information about the mindset of a cult leader. And this includes all of the above, including Dr. York. So, the nature guy, I don't know they much about him. Oh, there's been loads of videos done about him. Loads of videos. Yeah, it's quite a deep subject. Cult information is deep, it's very deep. It's the survivors. How do they get over being in a cult? How do they escape the cult? There's a program by Tyler Perry called Ruthless, which I'm trying really hard to get. I'm trying to get it. It's called Ruthless, and in there you see like how even the way how they dressed, the leader, how he is, how he's pertaining to be like the so-called God figure, but he is doing other things like dealing drugs or dealing with whatever. They're not allowed to go out the commune by themselves. They're not allowed to do a lot of things by themselves. So even if we look at how the communes are run, people always talk about Jim Jones, but I feel that sometimes you need to look at other people than Jim Jones. There's other ones out there that you need to look at, the mindset. So I am going to be covering a whole series of these cult information. I'm going to try and be on my shits where this is concerned until another subject pricks me, because there is a lot in it. And every day I watch Nature Boy turn into something else, or merge into something else, or change into another something, and the followers looks up to him like as though he's God. And he definitely understands something. So I think the only way to understand certain things is when you look into it, and then you can understand ways that people can take down that thing. Cults are not just large organizations. Many ordinary parents run the home in a cultish manner. It's control and dictatorship. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, Ruthless. If you look up Ruthless, they show little clips of it on here. BT did do one episode of Ruthless on YouTube. So if you look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because the way they're dressed and everything else, they look like Muslims, but they're not Muslims. So, Yeah, yeah. The FDL's church is good too. Yeah, Warren Jeff is another one. He's a whole another subject by himself. He's just one subject, but he's just a whole topic by himself. He was very weird. I think lots like if you watch Escaping a cult, I think it's Escaping a Cult. There's this thing on TLC that used to come on where these women used to go and help people escape cult. The FDLS church. The way they have to go around the God Squad and all that stuff is crazy. So for this one to escape the children of God is interesting. How she got past that. I mean, even though he's not as bad as the one from yesterday, but still, still on another level. The FDLS is a whole nother level. They're just crazy. They make I mean Amish, they're like but they come over like Amish people. But it's like Mormons. But it's like what it's like two different stuff in one. So you'll give me ideas, but I think what I'm gonna do, I'll do a poll. Where's the poll? Because I haven't done a poll on here. FBLS. Uh, Dr. York. I don't know whether it's there. I can't see it. Oh, there it is. There's a poll. So, which is more, the FDLS or Dr. York? Which should be covered more? Oh, can't even see it now. Can't see it now. Yeah, the Perula wife. Oh, the Pearl wife thing. I love it. Lo's the son of the documentary from the women that have left after many years of abuse. Warren Jeff got worse when they locked him up. Scientology is a strange one. Scientology is interesting, mind you. It's gone. Oh Lord, I can't see it. Hold on. Okay. Okay. You know what? Just type it into the chat. What you want me to do? Because that poll, I don't know how they do it. I'm not good at that one. I ain't even gonna try. Um, Scientology is a strange one. The survivors of Scientology even crazier. Like what's her name? That actress that did the whole documentary on the escape and all that stuff. Liam, I forgot her name now. Okay, well, the FDLS. Oh yeah, you look. Oh, Christine don't have my thingy. Okay, so hi tinfoil. Yeah. So basically, you just put in a list of stuff. I don't think the chat is gonna stay on when I upload it anyway. It doesn't stay up on here for some reason. I don't know why. So nobody ain't really gonna see it in it. So the FDLS So Scientology, there's Heaven's Gate, Solo Temple. I forgot. There's quite a few of them. There's so many of them. There's so many, so many. Dude, Dr. York. Yeah, yeah, Lee Rai. That's her name. Yeah. Dr. York. Dr. York. I did do some stuff on him already. I did some stuff on Dr. York already. I'm trying not to do what everybody else is doing because most people's doing on Dr. York or Nature Boy. So we're trying to step away from that. But then, like, because Nature Boy obviously has studied other organizations, we're gonna pick and see where he gets his ideas from as well. But we're not gonna use his name all the time because in the algorithm, when you call his name too many times, right, then I'll be in that algorithm. There's loads, and their leader's wife have gone for 10 years. No one's seen her. Who's that? Well, Warren Jeffs. Warren Jeffs was an utter animal. He was really horrible. David Koresh was really horrible as well. He was very, very they call it the God complex, grandeur, whatever. But when we look at the mind of the leader itself, I'm gonna pick out all the words, what they looked at and everything else, the psychological side of it. Because most of the leaders come from bad backgrounds and then they want to recreate something else. They all rule with the iron rod. Yeah, they do. They do. So probably tomorrow I'm going to come back on here and I'm gonna try, or if tomorrow, if I not do tomorrow but soon, I say Dr. York first maybe, but the FDLs. Yeah, I'm gonna look at the FDL, the Warren Jeff, because everybody else is doing Dr. York. There's quite a few people doing Dr. York already. Um, yeah. So, with that said, as there's not a lot to cover on her story, which is really sad because I'm sure she's got a lot more to say than what she said. You know, I'm sure she has a lot. It's just, oops, her face looked like she got a lot more to say to me, anyways. But that's just me, I guess. And I'm normally not good at reading people's faces, but with her, I can see there's some more. There's more in the story. There's more there. Um, so with that said, I'm gonna go right now, yeah, because you know me, I don't like to waffle much, because then like we go to other subjects and then it just takes it away from where it is, and I don't want to move away from her plight. It wouldn't be right to do that for those who watches the video on replay. No, the Scientology leader's wife. Sorry, my spelling is poor. I'm the same. It's okay. I'm the same too. It's fine. Oh, okay. The leader's wife. Okay, because yeah, I heard a few things about him in passing because I used to follow all the docs on them and everything. So to me, this subject is not really that new to me that much. It's not really that new. So it's just the thing is that right when you're watching something, when you have to explain it, it's a whole nother thing because you have to make sure that all the info is right. Because anybody looking at the video later on, they have to know what you're talking about and understand what you're talking about. You can't be beating around the bushes and going all over the place. And that's what I'm trying not to do as well. So, but I am gonna go now anyway. I am gonna go now anyway. But look, I have covered so I do Warren Jeffs as well. Warren Jeffs. I'm gonna do any of the ones that I feel that probably others have covered or not covered. because it seems like it's more the white YouTubers they go deeper than probably we do. There's only Real Talk I see that's going in deep on the mindset of the man, or the mindset of Nature Boy, watching his body language, which is important, watching how he's talking to people, watching the body languages of the other members, which is really important because that's how you know that you can break, or I don't know, there's always a loophole in everything. Just because people haven't done nothing about Nature Boy doesn't mean to say nothing cannot be done about him, per se. Okay? It's just that some people don't want to do it. They're just eating off of him right now. I don't want to eat off of him. I don't want that much. I will talk about him and then just leave it there. But the white YouTubers have gone in more the certain cults. So we're going to look into other cults apart from that. It's good to look at the black cults as well because like you have to cover everybody. All right. Oh yeah. Ben Yahweh. That's another one. I did used to have a video of him on my old channel as well. He's a whole nother animal altogether. Dr. York is interested in terms of Brother Polite and Sinetta. Yeah, but everybody else is covering him though. Everybody else is covering Dr. York, Brother Polite, and Sinetta right now. That's the hottest one on Black YouTube going on right now. And sometimes it's best to come out of a little bit of the cycle. I mean, like I said, Trips. If you want to know about Brother Polite and stuff, Trips does cover him. She looks at all that. Christine, I have subbed to your channel. Okay, so yeah. So Christine, I will give you a call in a minute when I get off. If you're up, are you around, Christine? No, my cat's crying now. Are you around, Christine? If you're around, I'll call you if you're not busy. Okay, so I am going to come off. Hold on, let me get the door for the cat. Oh, it's raining heavy. Oh, wait a minute. I'll go get you some food, innit? Yeah, I'll call you. Okay, yes, so I'm going to come off. Please have a good day and have a safe one out there. There's loads going on in the world. Claire, also go to Trips's one. If you want to know about Polite, also Christine, go to Trips's channel, the Trips Treehouse. She sometimes comes on here sometimes when she's not busy or when she's not, Trips Treehouse. So anybody who knows me, who talks to me outside, go to Trips. If you want to know about Brother Polite, if you want to know about Young Pharaoh, Remiel Ma'at. Who else is there? Jaded Emperor, who does little skits. If you want to know about the mindset of Nature Boy, I would say Real Talk TV is the best one for that. She's the woman on the job, her and Ivy. They talk about narcissism. They were on here the other time. Okay? So those are the channels that you need to tap into. Oh yeah, and there's Nosy Bitch if you just want to have a laugh at the fool. Okay? So ladies, off to sort out. Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, with that said, oh yeah, thank you for passing through tinfoil because I see you doing your thing on your one too. Okay. So, though this was a brief one, it's fine. It's okay. Sometimes that's how lives are sometimes. Some things you can't control. It's going in and out a little bit, but it's life, innit? That's how it is. Yeah. Yes. Watch Real Talk. Watch Ivy Revine. I would say her name wrong. Ivy Revine. Real Talk TV. Trips Treehouse. Remiel Ma'at. Nosy Bitch. If you want to laugh at him, Nosy Bitch. Because Nosy Bitch, she goes in on him too. SL Davis is kind of good for some things because I think SL is clocking what's going on a little bit more. She's a little bit premium. She's a little bit thingy now. little bit aware now. Before she wasn't before. But yeah. So yeah. Basically, yeah, I'm gonna come off now. Until next one, I'm going to find out more about the FDLS a bit more, and we'll probably do an open panel, maybe, I don't know. But I want some psychologist ones. I want Real Talk to come up because she said she studies psychology. So with that said, I'm gonna come off. Okay? All right. Take care.